being your own biggest critic, you want everything to be perfect at times. So like the perfectionism becomes like a time suck and like procrastinating waste of time when everything doesn't have to be perfect. Alex Hormozi, it's shifted for him since then, but when I was there, it was entrepreneurship, mindset, motivation, health and fitness, marketing and sales, and BTS lifestyle. Like I said, 100 videos, 75 videos, 75 to 100 videos you put out on YouTube. Then you'll have a good sense of what works, what doesn't work, what you should double down on, like who you should be making more content with, how you should be making more content, like what to optimize. You're dictating the direction of a full-blown company. I traded 60-hour to 70-hour weeks for 80 to 90 hours.
It's just been like that console. I don't know why that microphone's been giving us a lot of issues with the feedback. Yeah, but you could set different profiles on the actual console itself. And then I just switch profiles, and for some reason that takes it off. But I'm going to have one of our friends come by and look at it.
Nice.
Because the guy who helped us build like this iteration of the studio, he was actually the one that recommended, like, oh, buy the Axia console. And it's so funny that he told us to buy the Axia console, because now when I look at like iHeartRadio or Hot 97 and any of those shows in New York, I see the same console, and then it shoots into my mind. I'm like, holy smokes, I didn't realize the level we're doing it at. Because we were talking
different. Yeah.
We were talking a little bit prior to us starting the recording, but we were doing this as a hobby up until earlier last year. So I'm like, if we're able to create this as a hobby, only imagine what we create when we have our minds to it.
Oh, yeah.
So, but just wanted to get started, jump straight into it.
Sounds good.
And talk about you. Talk about how you got started in the business. You're currently a owner of 2 companies, or co-owner.
Co-owner Gambling Golf, and then co-founder of MediaEngineering.
Co-founder of MediaEngineering.
Yep.
I wanted you to break down a little bit of what you do at MediaEngineering, and then let's talk about Gambling Golf a little later.
Also, do you think by the name MediaEngineering that I have like a engineering degree or something?
At first I did.
I know you did.
Yeah, no,
Based
first,
off of like the book. I love the book. It's on my reading list for Amazon actually, like I told you, but I don't have an engineering degree. That was a cool name. Me and Teddy came up with it. He was my co-founder. And we ran with it. So no engineering degree. We're more, I'm the operations mind, and he's on the creative end. And I'm creative as well, but he's just like next level. But yeah, we thought it was a cool name.
Yeah.
MediaEngineering. We build content machines, engines, the method behind the madness of like the content output you see for like Alex and Leila, 300 pieces of content a week. Everything, the infrastructure behind it. So we go help entrepreneurs and founders build their in-house media teams and the infrastructure behind the actual content itself. So like from ideation to delivery, and then they deliver it.
So you said Alex and Leila, and I just want the audience to know, who is Alex and Leila?
Alex and Leila Hormozi, founders, owners of Acquisition.com, private equity firm. So I used to work there. I was the content and brand manager, second media team hire there. Got brought over by my good friend Caleb Ralston about 2 months after he was hired, 3 months after that. And then I was brought in to essentially help build out the team, and I had my hand in everything from production, ideation, handled all their accounts initially on every platform. And then we'd hand it off to a team member once we brought them on board. Podcast requests, speaking engagements, hiring, onboarding. It was literally everything I had my hands in. Vendor relations, if we worked with agencies at first, and then we offboarded them once we figured out what we needed, basically learn their process. So like podcast agency, for example, I'd work with them, figure out what they were doing and how we executed on our podcast distribution. And then I would put that into an SOP job spec, and then we'd hire someone internally and then offboard the agency. So like I was doing a bunch of stuff there, and it was great.
Was that your first time working for a personal brand and building it out?
Yeah, being the sole guy, like who really helped build the team around it, like being almost like close to ground floor and then seeing it grow. Yes. But like when I was at Vayner, working with GaryVee, I worked at Vayner Talent, Vayner Productions. So at Vayner Talent, we represented like talk show hosts, influencers, authors, and different entrepreneurs. So like we worked with Ray Dalio, Jesse Palmer, Evie Pomporis, and Bernie Kosar, Ray Lewis, and we would help them build their personal brands too. So like, but they were already developed, so that was a different stage. This was more of Alex and Leila, was ground floor. and watching it grow, and you were really having an impact in that growth. With like say Jesse Palmer, I worked with him day to day. He was already pretty big, but I just elevated it and helped him.
So did you go to school for this, or was this something after school you decided, you know what, I'm just going to go and chase my dreams?
I didn't. I went to sport management.
Yeah.
A school you probably never even heard of, SUNY Cortland, upstate New York. And I went for sport management, and I never in a million years would think I would be doing production, social media content. Yeah.
No way.
Personal branding, media team development. I would have never thought. I pictured myself as GM of the New York Yankees after Brian Cashman. But that never happened. And you figure that out quick, that there wasn't any money in sports.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a very tough industry to grow in.
Mm-hmm.
And then I knew I wanted to be involved in some sort of entertainment and sports and talent. And I started at Vayner, and then I gravitated towards social media and production because I fell in love with like the personal branding aspect. Saw that as like the future. Still obviously think it.
So what's the difference for you guys when you want to grow a personal brand compared to like a large corporation brand?
So so you're saying like a product service based brand and then a personal brand. So for a personal brand, that's the personality is the product. And then for a product service based brand, that product is like the hero of them. You know, it's I think I worded that the wrong way. But you get what I'm trying to say. Like the
personal brand
is the personality, is the product.
Mm-hmm.
And then for a product service based brand, like you're marketing that actual product. The product is the hero.
Mm-hmm. What does authenticity mean to you when marketing these type of brands? How important is that?
It's everything. So for your personal brand, it's authenticity is who you are, like what your values are, what you want to be associated with is over time, continuously, that association is going to build your brand. So authenticity, I mean, it's overused for sure.
Yeah.
Like everyone says it, but not many people really understand it because they'll try to then replicate what everyone else is doing on social media. And then that's becomes very inauthentic over time. People read it like a book. Like when you're just following what others are doing, trend-wise, tactic-wise, formats, it's not authentic to you, and it doesn't align with the brand you're trying to build. The values that you want people to know you for, like the associations, like doing certain things consistently you're following these trends isn't going to build what you're looking to build.
When you help these personal brands, how do you help them stay authentic? How do you make sure they don't lose their values throughout the way?
We do something good in the beginning for like, say if they're going to want us to help them build their media team too, is build out social media brand guidelines for their team to follow. So we really like hammer this in, and it's a document that has everything from your brand voice, tone, typography, how you want to speak in all your posts, individual platform guidelines, like what your audience is on that platform, what you want the tone to be on that platform, what has worked in the past, who's the platform lead, everything about everything pertaining to your social media content. So you could hand this to team members and they could consistently speak in that founder's voice. If it's a personal brand, whether it's a founder, an influencer, athlete, like whoever you're making the content for, you could reference this all the time. So then you know that you're not misfiring when you put out content on their platform. So you're aligned with their voice, their vision, their values, everything in your caption, the post itself, whatever it is.
When was the point in your life when you wanted to take the jump from being a part of a company to being the owner of a company, to creating your own kind of way in the content creation space? Because I know how difficult it can be to have a comfortable job, have the comfortable paycheck, have other people you could rely on kind of to produce for you, compared to when you kind of just got to jump in the ocean and swim and then see if eventually you reach land and you're like, all right, now I'm doing it on my own and now I'm making my own money and making my own way. When does that happen for you?
I think it got to a point where I knew I was good at what I say I'm going to do. So having the results and the proof to show that you are good at what you're doing, I definitely knew I had that. But to know when the right time is like the most difficult thing. It's never the right time, because that was only a year and a half ago. I had fucking no money. I was like, I wound up, it just felt like the right move. Like Teddy asked me about gambling golf. You want to get involved, to be like a co-owner. I was already working with a couple side clients, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Like I served my purpose here. We built the team out at acquisition.com, crushed it. I didn't want to move to Vegas, and I left on great terms. And I was like, I have no other option. I was like, let me just start. Fuck it. I was like, hey, there's only so many more years I have where I could you could really just build a business whenever you want. But in my eyes, it was like I only got like 5 or 6 more years to to actually go all in onto something.
Yeah.
And just be an entrepreneur. I also grew up in that atmosphere. Like my dad,
Really?
growing up, my dad he's been working from home my whole life. He's had offices, like he's built businesses and flipped them. Like he had a cake business called Little Jimmy's.
Yeah.
He wound up selling to Entenmann's. He sold a company called Webadeals. It was like Groupon in the early stages, but Groupon was already big. And he had Webadeals. Groupon bought that out. He had real estate company, mortgage business. So like I grew up like waking up in the morning, coming downstairs, seeing him on his laptop, having no idea what the fuck he's doing. But I'm fine. Like we got a decent house in Hawthorne, like we're living a good life. So I never understood, but he was an entrepreneur. That's what he does. So then it was like more ingrained in me to embrace that uncertainty, and like I knew I wanted to do it down the road. And yeah, it's the timing isn't never going to be perfect, but you just say fuck it, let's do it.
That's amazing. So it's in your DNA pretty much to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah. It's ingrained in me, at least.
I wanted to emphasize a point you just ended on, but it's never going to be the right time to start. I think that's like super important for the audience to hear, because even for myself, when I wanted to start my podcast, like I was scared. I was like, you know what? Let me wait till I have the right guest. I had my episode 1 that I actually have live on my channel. I told my 2 guests that were on it, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to post this. It's not the right one. Like, it needs to be perfect. And I always thought, like, it needed to be perfect. And now, most of the time when I release something, it's like 60% of what I think is perfect.
I was just going to say that. Now, when you do it, you're probably like, we're still going to edit it. It'll be fixed. It'll be great. Like, you look at it from a different perspective. I did the same thing. Like, I stink on camera. Like I'm brutally bad, like talking direct to camera, but I've been in so many shoots and also helping people build their personal brands where I'm standing the one not in front of the camera, I'm behind it. And I gained so much more appreciation for these people. And in the beginning, when I was doing it, it's like a couple months ago, and it was my first time. I've been doing this for 5 years, and it's like my first time actually filming.
Wow.
And it was brutally bad, but I wanted it to be perfect. So it took me like 3 hours to do one video, a 30-second clip. And it took me 3 hours, so I just kept doing it. I was like, I want you to do one take, and I kept restarting. I don't want the editor to see me like all these mess ups. After that 3 hours, I was just rattling them off. I did like 20 in an hour because I just was like, I don't care anymore. If they're gonna let them do their job and post, I'm comfortable now. But you see it from now. Every time I go into it, it's so much more cleaner, and it goes by like I follow my prompt docs more. I'm not like veering off. But you look at it from a different perspective once you start getting into it.
Definitely. I think that's so funny you say that. Just because I think everybody out there that hasn't started something thinks it needs to be the perfect moment to start. And that's farthest from the truth. Like,
no.
You just need to begin. And then once you begin, then you could start getting better. But with YouTube specifically, you see it in everyone's channel. When they start, nobody starts a YouTube channel and has 1 million views off the rip. And if they do, it's like, I just haven't seen it, honestly. You know what I mean? You have
very rare. Talk to a girl.
Yeah.
That's about it.
And even her, like, look where she is now. You know, she can't get a view. She's not dropping any content because most of these people you see blow up off viral video or just off one thing, they don't know how to reproduce because they pretty much have, I don't want to say nothing to offer, but they don't know what they have to offer yet. It's better to, like, grow your audience slowly because then people know what they're coming for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you start building an audience and you know what works for your brand, and you already have a brand that's developed. For YouTube, for example, I'm an advocate to always, and I always say this, you should put out 75 to 100 videos before you even start like testing a ton of things and like really taking it crazy serious. Cause then by the time you're 75 to 100 videos in, You know what like intros are going to work. You know what titles and thumbnails are actually like moving the needle, maybe even a little bit, because you're probably still not getting shit for views, and your metrics are probably still horrible, but you're not quitting yet. But by like 100, you'll have more than enough data to know like these topics work, these concepts work, these intros, these hooks. Like by that point, yeah, it's more or less putting out the volume, which we're going to talk about. You have a question on that?
I love to hear that, just because I put a ton of pressure on myself. I'm like, even now, I just said I hate the fact that I still say like in between conversations. Like, I had a interview the other day, and I realized I was saying it so much just because I haven't recorded in like 2-3 weeks, so I haven't been as mindful of the words I'm saying, and I was just putting so much pressure on. I was thinking to myself and to my friends, I was like, dang, I'm shit, honestly. I was like, if I'm going to be like this forever, it's over for me. But I realized the person who interviewed me was on episode 47, and I was like, he's a really good speaker. But if we put it into perspective, I drop 4 episodes a month. We're talking about almost a 9-12 month difference we have. And in a year from now, I definitely will develop, at least take out the bad habits as time goes on. Yeah.
Like, to me, I used to struggle with that a lot. Like, I used to think about what, like, as you were talking before, I catch myself still doing it. Like, I'm thinking about what my response is going to be instead of actually like focusing on what you're saying and like actively listening to you, and then just responding naturally to actually what you said. Instead of like, I'm still thinking about your first point that you made, and I'm thinking about my response, and then it fucks with my, like the actual question you were asking. You might have asked 2 or 3 questions, but I'm still focused on the beginning part and what my answer is going to be. And then I forget about the rest of what you were asking. So then you can't think like that. I always just speak the way I speak.
Yeah. I think one thing I'm trying to do is just slow down.
And being okay with being embarrassed.
Yeah.
And looking like a fool. The more reps you get, the better you're going to get.
I think people also love to see that, honestly. Like, when they see people mess up, be a fool, you could relate to it. You know what I mean? The person watching the content, it's relatable. They're just people like you. They're not perfect. They're, like I said, just exactly like you. And I think that's one of the cool things. I talked about it with a few of my other guests, but when I first started this, the name of the show was Notes of Success. And I came in with Notes of Success.
Notes of Success, okay.
Yeah. I ChatGPT'd it. I was like, what's 10 names? I was just
going to ask.
Yeah. I just threw it in ChatGPT. I was like, all right, I'm going to wear a suit, and I want it to be entrepreneurs, and I want it to be exactly like this. And then after a few episodes, like, I love wearing a suit. There's nothing wrong with wearing a suit, but
is that you?
No.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Is that the brand you're trying to build?
Half the time I'm in like sweats. I'm in a black t-shirt or a white t-shirt. I tell everybody I usually have this black Pro Clubs t-shirt. It's $3 a tee. I love it. And I literally have a set of 15, 20, and I just rotate in them. And then when I step outside of my house, that's what people are usually seeing me in. So to see me in a suit, and then to see me asking like certain type of questions, because even my questions were different at that time. I was trying to come off more professional. I told myself, this is literally what I was running away from. And now I'm creating something that I wanted to run away from. I'm like, all right, let's switch it up.
It's weird how that happens. Like, you gravitate towards those things because you think it's the right move.
Yeah.
But you knew all along it isn't. Your gut tells you that.
I think it just, the years of doing it over and over again, the years of school, the years of working in an office, it just like built into my mind. This is the way I needed to act, because that's the one thing I talk to everybody about. One thing I didn't like about being at work or being in an office, you change who you are and you change your personality no matter who you are. Like, the way you speak in the office is completely different than the way you speak to your friends and stuff. And that's fine for a lot of people, but for me, I just wanted to be authentically myself like 100% of the time. I was tired of like having to be a shell of myself anywhere in life, and it wasn't due to just the office job. It was due to a lot of different factors. Maybe I was scared of how people would judge me, just a lot of fear was holding me back. And I was like, you know what, fuck it. Let's just send it. I'm going to be myself. Whoever that is, let's figure it out. Because when you're in your 20s, also another thing I feel like people don't understand, you're still developing. You know what I mean? Society puts a lot of pressure on just young men, and they're like, you need to be this certain type of person.
You need to have it figured out
Yeah.
before you're, 30 years old. I think that's such a crock of shit, to be honest.
Yeah.
And it's a sad truth. I mean, it's a sad reality that most people believe in.
Mm-hmm. And working with people like GaryVee and seeing all the people in that industry, did you ever realize that some people didn't have it figured out till they're 40, 50? How was that for you when you first got to realize, like, oh, I don't need to have it figured out at such a young age?
I think I still struggle to,
Mm-hmm.
like, you consistently battle back and forth, like, all the time about, like, you have your horrible day. Like, you have days where, like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, is this going to work? Like, why am I doing this today? Is this, like, task going to move the needle? Then you have your days where you think you could take over the world, and you see everything so crystal clear that, like, media engineering is going to work this way. Gambling golf's next step 5 years from now is going to crush it. To answer your question, there never was, like, a point where I realized that, because I still battled with it till today.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, you're never going to have it figured out always, but yeah, you have your days where you do believe in it, and then you don't.
What do you do to get past those days?
To me, it's like what I learned working with Alex
Mm-hmm.
and Leila is, like, you don't lose if you never quit. So it's like, this will pass. Like,
Mm-hmm.
this today, it might seem like you don't know what the fuck you're doing, or, like, where this is going, or, like, am I doing the right thing today? Because there's a million things as an entrepreneur, like, that you could be doing every day. But, like, taking it one day at a time, knowing that I'm not going to feel like this tomorrow, and I'll restart the day tomorrow. And yeah, that's just honestly what keeps me going. Like, I'm doing what I want to do at the end of the day. It's not life or death.
Mm-hmm.
It's just work. Like, but at least I get to do what I want to do, and today's brutal. Tomorrow might not be.
Was that scary for you at first? Because before the recording started, we got to talk a little bit about how I personally felt and how I see it, even a few of my friends feel, of taking that leap, of doing what you want to do, chasing that goal, whether it's start a business, whether it's start a different venture in your life. It's scary, just flat out scary. Like, some people are really scared and never take that first step. How's that for you? When did you take that first step, and what's that feeling like, taking the first step?
It's just total uncertainty. Like, you don't have it really hit me when I realized I took that first step, and, like, I'm doing this damn thing, is when I didn't get that paycheck from acquisition.com every 2 weeks. Like, that first time where I know, like, on the 15th, everyone was getting their money and I didn't see it in my bank account. I was like, fuck, you have no other option. It is on you. Like, you have to go get your clients. You have to market. You have to do new business development, reach out to a bunch of people, like, build the network even further, build out your case studies, your website, like, your services, your offerings. If there's a ton, your logo, and you're thinking about all these different things. Like, what am I tackling first? And that's when I really realized, like, I took my first step. It hit me in the face. Was when I didn't see that paycheck come in, and I'm like, damn, I need to get clients. And by that point, I was lucky I had a couple, but that's why I feel like most people, that's the first, like, they took that first step and realized it was when they weren't having the consistent money anymore. They're like, damn, it's on me or nothing. And no one's coming to save you.
How intimidating is that? Because just by the things you said, I got overwhelmed. I'm like, one of the things you said was, where do you even start? You know what I mean?
You just start doing. Just start doing, like, the things I just listed on that list. And as you're working, you're going to realize what is more priority than the other. You're going to maybe you start working on, like, your website, where you're like, actually, it makes sense to actually follow up with these people today instead. That'll probably that's a more revenue generating task today, at least. And then tomorrow, maybe these people that you did speak to yesterday want to see your website or the case study. So tomorrow, let me finish the case studies and the website, so then I could give that to them, the people that I talked to yesterday. So then I can close them on the third day. And then I'll follow back up with them after it's done, give them everything, and they've reviewed the website. You know what I mean? It all adds up. It's just, like, prioritizing what is moving the needle more that day and what will generate more revenue faster.
Because One thing I've spoken about on my other shows is those small daily wins. Did you find that, like, those days that you found hard to get up and
Yeah,
do
dude.
some work, just, you know what, let me get this one thing done, and I know in the long run it'll pay off?
Massively.
Mm-hmm.
That was something. It took me like, I've been doing this a year and a half now. It took me like the first 6-7 months of just straight up more stressed than ever. And like you were like depressed almost to a point because there's so much to do and you're trying to do it all every day. So I have all my tasks in Monday.com. My work section in Monday.com it's very organized, but there's 100 things in each section. And I have like 8 sections. And it goes from like tomorrow, today, next week, this week, like completed. And it was just getting overflowed. And I'm trying to do everything on the today list, which is like 40 to 50 things a day. And you just try to optimize and complete so many things. It's like overload and you burn out so fast. And then, but you have no other option but to continue working while you're burnt the fuck out the next day. And then the next day and the next day. But when you prioritize it to like the 3 most important, at least for me, I buckled it down to like 3 to 5 of the most important projects every day or tasks that are going to move the needle the most for my business, whether that's media engineering or gambling golf. I separate my week between media engineering and gambling golf. It's 2 different mind frames. So like I'll have media engineering Monday. It's usually Monday, Tuesday, and then gambling golf Wednesday, and then Thursday is media engineering again. Friday is a little bit of both.
So now I want to break down and go into gambling golf a little bit. What is it that you do at gambling golf? And then what is gambling golf?
Gambling golf is golf balls. Right now we're going to build into merch and more accessories. But it's golf balls with a dollar sign on one side, $2 sign on the other. And we're giving you 30 games. There's 12 balls in a box. We're giving you 30 games now in the box to where you could look at those games, play them if you want. Or you could play the OG game, which is whatever side lands up each stroke is what you put to the pot. Whoever wins the hole wins the pot. And now we give you 30 games within the box. Or you could just be creative with it and use the balls as you see please. They're just as good. They're recycled Pro V1s, which is like the higher end golf balls in the golf world. And we just rebranded. We went from like, because I came on as a co-owner and the founder, Teddy Giard, who's also my co-founder for media engineering, he started it. So it initially was his idea, and then he brought me on. And now we just brought on 2 other partners recently who are bigger in the retail space. But I handle media. We're about to ramp that up because we just rebranded. We have like a more premium look now, like Vice Golf. It looks clean. The old one, I used to like bust Teddy's balls about it because Teddy's more like hipster vibe, and it was like Austin Powers type writing. Like the typography on it was like an Austin Powers logo look and like feel with like subtle green circles. And I'm like, what are we doing? So we wanted you want that money feel, that old school money, that nice cursive typography, but like that packs a punch too. And we wanted we changed the catchphrases of it, the whole marketing of it, colors, formatting, our logo, mascot, everything, bro. It looks good now, and I'm excited. Like it really revived my inspiration and focus on it. Like I really feel great about the brand now, like where we're heading. Like really, really good.
What do you shoot? That's what I wanted to ask you. Do
I
you do
co-own
golf
a golf company, and I'm probably one of the worst golfers on the East Coast. But I still play all the time. I golf every week, but I'm compared to most people, I shoot. Depends what course we're talking here. I'm consistently from 90 to 100.
Yeah.
And like most courses.
That's not
unless
bad.
We're playing like, I don't know, we're going to
hometown course, and
I was drawing a blank. I'm thinking of do you know any courses you know golf well?
A little bit.
Okay. They have the Ryder Cup there this year in Long Island. It's like
I'm not too sure. The only one I know is the Jersey City one, and then
Bethpage.
Bethpage.
That's
okay.
It. So if we're playing Bethpage Black, yeah, I'm definitely shooting 120. But like any normal course, we go to Preakness Valley and Wayne, the public course, I'll shoot 90 or below.
Okay. No, I wanted to ask her personal because we got to go golfing because
100%, dude.
I shoot around like 120. I just started golfing recently.
That's why we made gambling golf.
Yeah.
You have more fun on the course because when you suck at golf like I do, I was like, that's the whole reason it came about too. Like, I was gambling already on the course to make it more fun instead of getting pissed off how bad at golf I am.
Yeah.
And then I found gambling golf and I was like, Teddy, I need to get a part of, like, become a part of this because this is fun.
Yeah, I got to try it out instantly.
It's great. And you'll wind up coming up with more games too while you're using it because you're going to see, like, sometimes you don't want to play it every stroke. Like, so then maybe when you're teeing off, we'll do like longest drive. Or like when we're on the green, I'll like toss a gambling golf ball to the guy and be like, all right, if you miss this putt, you're paying me whatever side lands up. And then it's just like you'll come up with random things. Maybe it's your second shot you're playing and then on it, or like your approach shot only, and you're coming up with random games. It's just fun.
That's pretty cool. So have you ever had anybody like reach out to you and be like, hey, you should add this onto the game? We were just on the course with your boss.
A ton, man. And that's a good example right there of like content in general, like in product innovation. Like listening to your audience right there. We got a ton of that. That's half the reason why we rebranded.
For real.
If people were saying like, this should look more of like a premium brand and should have like that, the whole Vice Golf idea like that, it came from the audience. Like we got a bunch of feedback on it. We're like, you're right. That makes so much sense. And then we adjusted.
How do you balance your personal life and your business life? Because just having this conversation, really all I'm hearing is work. So do you even have a work-life balance?
Yeah, I do now. I used to not, and it really fucked up my mental health. Like, I was the most sociable guy. Like, I had a million friends. I still do, but like there was like I was telling you before the podcast started, there was a time frame like 4 years where I just worked. Like, I just wanted to, and it wasn't necessarily like, I always had this feeling of like I wasn't enough, or like I was meant to do more, and I wanted to do more, and I think, and I also wanted people, which you learn so much too from working nonstop like that. I wanted people to see me in a certain way, which then you realize isn't a good thing anyway. But I consistently, I worked for 4 years straight, and then you learn a lot about yourself. And I realized that my personal life is actually a major reason why I'm where I am to begin with. Like, my social life plays a factor in who I am and how I conduct myself at work. And being around, it just brings a different life in you when you actually have your personal life in. So now I've implemented it the past like year and a half. It's not really implementing it. I just got back to being the person I was. But you learn from doing the shit that like wasn't the right way, which is working nonstop for 4 years. Like, that wasn't me. It took 4 years to realize it, like 7 days a week, but that's just not, I work better. I'm more efficient when I actually have my personal life and I see my friends. I'm with my family. I block off the time. Like, I'm not working till 10 p.m. every night. Like, you separate it. I got the office, which is a big reason that was good for my social life as well and personal life. Where the office strictly work, leave there. I go to my personal life. Literally walk out the door, and I had to just shut off from work. Period. And that's like a game changer. So like I separate it from the office, and then just realizing what works for me and what doesn't. And that took so long to realize that. And I think that's a case for a lot of people. They realize that over time, doing the wrong thing.
One thing I want to go over that you said was your mental health. And it goes back to what we were talking about, that feeling of being burnt out when you're just work, no play. Like, what effect did that take on you? Because I even heard you say a little bit about it. Your work just doesn't come out the same. You can't produce, even if you're working 12 hours a day and your mental is down. If your mental is where it needs to be and you're feeling really good about things, you could probably produce what you just did in 12 hours in 6.
100%. 100%. It's tough to even like pinpoint it. You just you really realize things like the amount of sleep that you get, like the amount of time you're not working, like, and just socializing with the people you want to be around, like being in the right environments consistently, which is being around the people that you actually want to spend time with and not committing to things with people you don't really fucking care about to begin with. And then you go there and you're like, why am I here? And like, that's it. You feel the difference from hanging out, say like what I was saying with Julian earlier, like being in the office with Julian compared to working from home and being like with my family, like two different like environments completely. Like he elevates me. Love my family to death. They don't.
Yeah.
I'm in a different mindset than they are. I like to think I'm just see things a lot differently than they do. Like they don't work like I do. So, and Julian does. Julian works more than anyone I fucking know. So like that elevates me. It's a different environment. So it's, yeah.
Do you operate off vision or instinct? And has that changed over time?
I think it's a combination of both. I think like you always have the vision in mind of what the goal is going to be and like where you want to be. But I operate on instinct for the short term to get to that vision. Like the day-to-day tasks that compound over time is more instinct than trusting my gut. I've learned that over time too. Trust my gut and not other people.
When building both of these companies, have you ever had a time where your patience was tested and you were pushed to your limits where you're like, I don't know if this is for me anymore. Like, I don't know if I could keep going, or you know what? I'm going to keep going, but this is like driving me nuts. We need to fix this ASAP type of thing.
Yeah. That's weekly, man. Like, no lie, that's like a weekly thing. Or so that's probably too much. But yeah, that happens every few weeks, I would say, where you question everything. You're like, is this going to work? Your patience is tested all the time because, like, when you're looking, if a client leaves out of left field where you didn't expect it, then it has you questioning everything. Like what? But you learn from it too. Like if they leave, you're like, what did I do wrong? But necessarily like, maybe you dodged a bullet. My patience is tested. So if an employee leaves last second, and like they're on a project that you really need them for, and then you got to replace them, and you're like, or an editor submitting something and they're taking way too long, and we really need this edit to deliver for a client. There's so many ways your patience is tested, and they all could happen on the same fucking day, and then you're like, what am I doing? And why this isn't working? Like, is this going to continue working? Or if a quarter of the numbers, like you're not used to things, like if you see the numbers are down for a quarter, like drastically, maybe it's because you were really optimizing the things on the back end of your business, so then you could really crush it in Q2 and like Q3, so then everything flows seamlessly and you could bring on more clients. You put things more into perspective when you go to them. So yeah, my patience is tested all the fucking time, but you really learn how to deal with it as you go through it and have the reps, like you were saying before with your podcast. You just got to get the reps and you learn.
How do you know when to double down on something versus pivot? Because you talked about you just pretty much changed up the whole marketing to golfing, but you said a large part of it was due to the audience, but in media,
I think I'm big like proponent of your audience will dictate where you're going. Like, the market will tell you. So we were testing different ways, like our formats and styles for content for gambling golf. And we noticed that 10% of the content was pulling in like 90% of the results. And then it started shifting to both weren't producing results. So we were like, and then the branding was off too. So like, fuck it, we're pivoting. And I think that goes the same for a lot of people. Like if neither of the things you're testing or any of the things you're really testing or over time, over a long span of time, like 6 to 12 months isn't working or moving the needle at all, you might need to pivot.
What's your creative process like? Are you someone who plans every single move, or are you able to change at a fast pace and just kind of go with the flow of things?
Great question. When it comes to, wow, I'm very detail oriented, like very. That's why I'm like a big proponent for pre-production. I think pre-production of all people's content is very slept on, underrated. Like I think that's everything, to be honest. And so I really focus on the details there. So then the more you focus on your pre-production details and really having that dialed in, the better the content will be, and it's going to flow seamlessly on film day, your film session. But then on the film session day, it's more like you're all prepared, so now you're going off on the fly. And it's more off instinct, because then you're the one on camera now. Some of the words aren't going to be identical to what you envisioned and you put on paper and on your documents, but you're letting it flow, because at that point it's your knowledge.
It's funny you say that too, because pre-production, I never even thought about it like that, but as I've started to do more episodes, it's something I've tried to improve on. Because you saw I sent you the questions pretty much last week.
Yep.
But when I first started, it was, and I knew a guest was coming, I would probably write the questions right before he was coming. I wouldn't really think about it. Now I'm trying to give myself a lot of time with the questions, read them over, see what I think about it, see what the guest thinks about it, and then slowly over time, like, I know myself, by the time I get to like episode 50, I'll be at a point where if I do have any questions, I'll have them all memorized, because I'm just like kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So I'll drive myself nuts trying to do it.
It's also before what we were talking about. You got the reps of doing it wrong, and you saw the difference from when you did it right, and like you did implement a little bit of pre-production in those questions. You saw how much better the episodes got. And then also you've immediately got approval from that guest. Like, all right, these questions are dope. And he validates his reason for coming. So it like confirms him, like subconsciously is like, all right, this is going to be good. Like he has his shit styled in for the podcast. I like these questions. This is going to go well. I kind of know how I'm going to respond. Like it's only pros to it.
Yeah. Like you said, it's only pros, because there was a guest I was talking to last week, and he asked me, he's like, what's the layout to your podcast? Like, what's your questions like? And that same question he asked me a few months back when I first started would have scared me. I would have been like, I don't know. But I already had my layout. It was more of a go into my notes, copy, paste, send it over. And he's like, heck yeah, I want to go over.
You have more of a feel for how it's like formatted now.
Yeah. Was there ever decision you had to make that felt risky in the moment and you were kind of scared to make it, but end up being a game changer?
Yeah, what we talked about the whole time, basically, which is leaving my job and starting media engineering. I think the biggest thing though there was the fact that I really had like $0, man. I was living like paycheck to paycheck, and you have no other option but to do like good, or at least go all in, and like you don't have an excuse and no one's coming to save you. So like, yeah, that's the biggest game changer, was making that decision. It's been at least the biggest game changer, and that was the decision that I made.
Would you recommend that to other people?
No.
I love how quick you answered that.
No.
Why?
Because my co-founder Teddy, he literally brings it up all the time. He's like, dude, I really don't know how you had the balls to actually leave the job that you had, which many people would fucking want, like, to go just start your company in media engineering with me. I'm talking as Teddy, with zero, like you had no money. And I was like, and Teddy knows, because I would always like, because in the beginning, you're always worried about it, and you realize the less you worry about your money, the more like you start having it come to you. But I was like always worried about it, stressing it. And so he knew that, and then he always brings it up now. He's like, I don't know how the fuck he did that. So I don't recommend it. I think people should have like some money in the bank, like ready to go, like emergency fund. Like now, looking back on it, I probably should have done that. But I also had enough evidence to show I was good at what I say I do. So I had, immediately after I left, I had people hitting me up left and right to work with me. So I had to go right away. I had work. So I also got lucky in that regard, because I built up enough evidence to work with other people. I had the results that people wanted. So it helped. So I would also say have those results as well, but only help you if you were to leave. But also have that emergency fund would be fun.
Do you feel like not having the emergency fund kind of set a fire under you, where you're like, like you said, your back's against the wall?
Yeah, you have nothing to lean back on. It's like it's all or nothing. It's all on you, and there's no other option but to make money somehow. So figure it the fuck out. That's really what my outlook was. Like, I've always figured it out. Most of the jobs I've gotten, to be honest, I was definitely not qualified for. Like when I first started at acquisition.com, like a lot of the aspects and responsibilities of that job, I definitely wasn't fully like the most qualified person. I just fit their values and their culture very well. And I also had minimal experience for the job, but I figured it the fuck out. I feel like that's being versatile like that, and always wanting to learn and be curious really helped me in that regard.
One thing I wanted to go further on was you said not to focus on the money. And I think that's so important because even in my own life, I realized when I first started this venture, that I was so focused on the money. And when I left my job, I was kind of in the same boat you were in. I had no money. If anything, I had a ton of debt waiting on me on the other side, which puts even more pressure on. But it wasn't until I was able to kind of flip that switch and realize like my life isn't defined by how much money I have. If I want to go for this, I just kind of need to jump and send it, was when I was actually able to like feel free and just go for everything I needed to pursue with full intention instead of worrying like, oh, I need to pay for this, need to pay for that. For me, I kind of put my trust in God, and I was like, I know if I put my head down and work as hard as I can, I'll be at a point where I won't have to worry about money. And thankfully, I mean, it's not that I don't have to worry about money, but I don't have to worry about money. Like I know everything is paid for immediately, and I'm not rich by any sense, you know.
Yeah,
but
me neither. But I think you worry. It's not necessarily you stop worrying. I think you just have a changed perspective on it. You realize over time, like there's so many things. Like life could be a hell of a lot worse. And money isn't the end all be all. I think too many people stress on it, and also their businesses suffer when all they do is focus on the money because you're really not in it to actually have an impact on other people or the product that you have or service. Is you don't think more along the lines of how is it impact people? Am I providing something good? You're more or less like, I want to give this product service to them and get the money as fast as possible. And I think that hurts people like tremendously. And you just build an association with money over time that you look at it differently. It's not the end all be all.
Definitely, because in my own opinion, I mean, I've seen it in my own life. There's going to be points where money comes and goes. Like there's going to be points where you have a ton of money, and then there's going to be points where there's no money to be made. You know what I mean?
Man. Truthfully, everyone, I feel like it's a cliche term. Everyone says like the money always comes back.
Yeah.
And it does. It really does. But just don't be like real stupid spending it, but it does. It does at the end of the day.
What's the hardest part about being your own boss that nobody really talks about?
Poof. Decision fatigue for sure. The prioritization of it. Like the getting up every day and it's all on you and you decide what you're going to work on that day. Like you're dictating the direction of a full-blown company. It is massive. A lot of people think like, because I have people come in and out of the office a lot, and they're like, oh, this is sick. Like, this is cool, man. I would love to have this. No, the fuck you won't. Like, you would not want this. Like, you don't understand. I traded like 60. I hate discussing like the aspects behind it, like because it almost like is like bragging to an extent, which I don't like to do. It's not. It's like this is what the lifestyle is. I traded 60-hour to 70-hour weeks for 80 to 90 hours. But yet, yes, I have an office. I get to make my own hours, but the hours are fucking more. Yeah. And half the time, you don't even know what you're doing is going to actually work. And you're just dealing with uncertainty and stress constantly, 24/7. So no, you wouldn't want that because I know a lot of the people that do come in, they're working just from home, they're remote. So they'll stop in the office and work, and they have that comfortability and the reliability of a paycheck. They know what tasks they have to accomplish. They know their job responsibilities. I have none of that. And I'm working more than you do in 2 weeks. It's like in 1 week. So yeah. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, it definitely does. And I'm just laughing because I'm in the same boat. It's funny you say that because one thing when you're in an office working, if you have that type of job that I want to go over is you said you have tasks. Like you have somebody else telling you what to do and you have that assured paycheck coming in. And then when you're on your own, people don't realize that you could be working 90, 120 hours even sometimes, and you don't know, like you said, if it's going to work.
The
And that
uncertainty, yeah.
that could be scary as hell, honestly.
Dude. It's something you think about all the time.
Yeah.
But you just keep going. You just know, like Alex says it all the time, which is like ingrained in my head. I think I've heard it literally a million times from watching his content and working on it every day, is you will never lose if you don't quit.
Mm-hmm.
So you just keep chugging along.
If you had to shut everything down tomorrow, what would you want to be remembered by?
What would I want to be remembered by?
Or remembered for, actually.
Remembered for. Business wise, you're saying? Like,
Yeah.
if I had to shut down the businesses, that everyone I worked with had a positive impact from the services I provided, or myself in general. I want them to ask, like, I want people to be like, wow, why is he going out of business? Like, he did so well for us. I want everyone to say that.
Where do you see your brands and yourself in 5 years? And what do you want to feel when you get there?
Where do I see media engineering? I want it to build it to a point to where we could like funnel gambling golf and brands like that, product service based brands, through the engine that we build. I want to eventually have a full team of editors, in-house content managers that'll be working with clients, but double dipping into brands that we start. I want to have a creators, a roster list, so we could double down on TikTok Shop and like what we were saying before, the live stream aspect of products now.
Yeah.
Like doubling down on that, like have a full team for that. And I want to be able to have in 5 years media engineering, like to be that machine behind brands that we can just funnel through, and have a whole system and process and infrastructure built out that it could be replicated for different brands. Doesn't matter the industry. And we can just run through consistently. And then gambling golf, that's a great freaking question. I would like to see gambling golf in 5 years be nationwide and be developed more into simulators as well. I think a real big play with that would be, as gambling grows bigger and bigger, I would love to see us be involved in simulators and have a game in all simulators, which would be cool.
Yeah.
Which I think could be more or less like a 2 or 3 year thing, but I would love to see us be nationwide in 5 years. That's the goal, at least. Nationwide, and I didn't put a number on the simulators. I just want to get in there first.
And what do you want to feel? Because recently, when I was talking to my friends, I set a goal for myself, like, all right, I'm going to hit 500 subscribers on YouTube. That was my goal. But then when I reached that point, I didn't feel anything, which is really weird. So I honestly sat these like last 2 weeks. I didn't drop any episodes because like I just wanted to reflect on it, because it was a pretty long journey. I've been wanting to start a YouTube channel my whole life, and I had these expectations of when I hit these certain goals, I'm going to feel this certain way, and it just wasn't that.
You never do. I think it's less about, a lot of people think like that too. And it took me realizing like I did the same shit where like when I got the job that I wanted, I was going to feel a certain way. If I got this client, if I got this whatever, I'm going to feel a certain way. So if I do reach those, when we reach those goals, I don't think I'm going to feel any different. I think I just have to ask myself, do I have any regrets in the journey before that to get to this point? Like, did I absolutely give it my all to get here? And that's usually what I ask myself. It's not a feeling. It's like, I'm going to be the same fucking person I am right now. It's just, I'll probably be wiser. I'll be smarter. I might look uglier, but like 5 years from now, but like, I'm going to feel the same, man. I'm just going to be more satisfied with where we are. And I'm just hoping I don't have any regrets for everything I did to get there.
That's huge. Was there ever a time where you had a client that their vision didn't align with your vision, and that was challenging, and how did you go through that?
I think a thing that you see consistently is with a lot of clients and like entrepreneurs in general that are just like getting started in content is they try to have that polished look, that high production value look, and have a mask on of like who they really are. And they're very boring on camera in the sense of like it feels like they're just reading off the prompt and they're just like reading off a document, when in reality I try to get them as comfortable as possible and use that cliche word of authentic and be themselves. So we had a client actually recently who might be the most boring human like ever on camera. It's no lie, like a robot. And his videos struggle, but he puts out so much volume. He's very wealthy. So he has a full team where he's pumping out a ton of content, and we've implemented like all the systems and processes that I utilized when I was at acquisition.com and with all my other clients, to where they're seamlessly pumping this out now, but it's all just so robotic. So I was like, without even saying anything to him, I went to one of the editors and I watched one of his vlog episodes they did recently. It was a full theme day about like a product launch they were having. And I watched it. There's a couple good clips in there to show people who he actually is. Like, he talks about it within the clip itself. It talks about like his catalyst story of how he decided to go all in on this business. And he's from Alabama, and he built up like the number one air filter business in the country in like X amount of time. And he did it from XYZ of like the hard work, the patience, the et cetera. And like there was a pivotal moment after he got the business. So was the reason why he thought it built up so fast. It was like a very relatable, like he humanized it. It was him. You felt it. It was so much different than him being robotic. And the video crushed. It did very well on literally all platforms. And he thought what he was doing was going to work if they just put out more volume. But he realized after that clip, and then a couple other after, we started like implementing it, and the cadence of the content he was pushing out was more like relatable, like him being himself and like just relaxed more on camera, that it slowly, he saw the difference and he was like, that's what like works. Like people want to see their story in yours, and they want to see the relatability. And that's what it felt when he was just being himself more, because like then it shows like how you actually got here, because they see the true you.
That's so funny you say that. I laugh again just because it goes back to what we were saying earlier, like how I started this all in a suit, and I just didn't feel like myself, and even coming off like a different way. I just felt like I was high. Even nowadays, like, I don't know if you notice, once the camera turns on, I become a little bit more quiet. Like I'm obviously just a little bit more different off camera, but that's because I'm still coming to find myself on camera and getting used to it. I'm still not as comfortable. I'm still not as comfortable as I am on camera as off. So it's still finding myself, but I realize that like I just need to be myself 100%. You know what I mean?
Dude, it's all reps. The first time I ever did a podcast where I was recording like this with someone, I was sweating when we first started the episode. I remember I was like, Jesus, this is like this the whole time. You just get used to it. I'm still like, when you first start, I know exactly what you're talking about. You feel that. I know it's different when you first start in the beginning, and then like you get into it and you start, it's like you relax. But then it eliminates completely. I feel like the more reps you do.
Definitely. Because
I've only gotten better. I still stink at it, I think, in my opinion, but you just get better. More reps.
It's funny you say that, because if I still think I stink, but I think you're doing a really good job. So like we think that of ourselves, but then the people like looking and listening to your content are like, you're doing a really great job.
Always, man. That's another thing. Like you're always your biggest critic by far. And that's, I'll do these episodes and I'll get clips from it, and I'm like, I look like I'm borderline handicapped. Like I look really bad. And then someone else will watch it and be like, that was awesome. Like that was like, that was real valuable information you provided. Like I actually enjoyed that clip. Thanks. I thought it was brutally bad. But appreciate it. But like, so what I'm saying, you're your own biggest critic. Always.
How has that affected your life and your businesses? Because for me personally, I don't know how I've made it to 11 episodes and all these clips where I'm even talking in them, because like you said, I'm my biggest critic. For a lot of it, I hated it. It's now that it's been a few months and I've developed, and I've gotten to listen to the little annoying things I've said and got to cut them out a little bit, where I'm like, oh, this is pretty good. And obviously the guest I have on, like, I just feel like with every guest, they're getting better and better. And you guys as guests, like, I've had great guests on, and I think that's just been such a blessing, because when I listen back to these episodes, it's not just me listening to my own annoying voice. I get to hear these really cool stories back and get to really like listen again and just hear everything they had to say. So I just started to love my episodes more and more, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm. So restate the beginning question.
How does being your biggest critic affect you and your business?
I think it's a mixture of good and bad.
Mm-hmm.
Because being your own biggest critic, you want everything to be perfect at times. So like the perfectionism is actually like becomes like a time suck and like a procrastinating waste of time when everything doesn't have to be perfect. And then also being your own biggest critic is in a good way, it pushes you to keep going. Like it pushes you to always get better. Like it's almost to an extent like it's never enough, like what you're doing. Like even if you crush it that day, it just doesn't feel like it's enough. But over time it does a little bit. Like you get better and better. That self-critic gets a little bit better, at least for me. I felt like it's gotten better over time. I used to like do a ton of things in a day, or like achieve a goal, get a job, close a client, and be like, fucking not enough. Like I need more. But that's just your self-critic talking.
What do you feel people get most wrong about building a personal brand?
I think like I said before, I think they get wrong in the sense of they don't build off of who they are. They don't build a brand off of like being themselves and like what they're knowledgeable about, what they're providing people. They try to almost copy the tactics, the look, the feel, the vibe of someone else's personal brand, and just steal essentially what they're creating and not even making it their own, just kind of copy and pasting. And it's not who you are. So I think a lot of people get wrong about their personal brand is not building it around themselves. They try to base it off someone else.
Yeah, that's kind of insane.
They don't develop like what their values are, like what their content pillars are going to be. What do you want people to associate you with? Like, what do you want to create content around? AKA like your content pillars. What, like, you're not going to find out what formats are going to work until you test them out. Like you want to choose initially what your content mediums are going to be. You want to do like more written. You want to do audio content. You want visual, like video. Like you're going to have to try it out and see what is you're more comfortable, where you're yourself more.
So you said content pillars. What does that mean?
That's your content that you're going to be creating. Like what topics or themes are you going to necessarily is who you are as a person. So say for Alex Hormozi, his was it shifted for him since then. But when I was there, it was entrepreneurship. These are the buckets of content, the pillars of content that he's creating content around. It was entrepreneurship, mindset, motivation, health and fitness, marketing and sales, and BTS lifestyle. So in each of those pillars, he's going to be discussing obviously everything about entrepreneurship. You see his content, you definitely associate with entrepreneurship. Health and fitness. Back when I was there, he doesn't do it much anymore, but he was doing a lot more gym content. We had the show where he would have people who had larger audiences or directly correlated with him. He would just have gym workouts with them. He would discuss dieting and stuff like that. Mindset, motivation, obviously you see from him. Marketing and sales, obviously you see a ton from him. And then BTS lifestyles, like the vlog episodes, the Hormozis, and like the behind the scenes of building the business, those little clips you see of on podcasts and his daily life, the meetings he has at work, like all that. Like you associate him with those pillars. So we were creating, and that's what your brand over time, your brand will develop into that. He's more your entrepreneurship, business, mindset. People build that association with you. So then if that's who you are, those are the pillars that you want to have.
What would be your advice if, let's say, I'm just a 20-year-old kid, I'm sitting in my room and I'm like, I want to start a YouTube channel and I believe in myself. I believe I could be one of the biggest YouTubers, but I don't even know where to start. What would be your advice for me?
To start.
Yeah.
Literally, like, it's different from when you're starting from like absolutely nothing. You have no content out there to even base like how you would make adjustments. If you just go it, you're gonna let the market dictate like what you want to create more of. Like, what do you? Obviously, you want to do whatever you're creating is going to be something that you want to create. It's obviously who you are. Like,
Yeah.
if you're really that passionate about it, and then just start creating it, and then let the market dictate what you should be creating more of. If it doesn't feel right, then you're going to have to pivot. It's not who you are. You're going to have to pivot. But then you're slowly going to start making the things that you want to make your content around, like whatever your YouTube channel is. You'll see, like, if it's going to be cleaning, then just do more cleaning and just like double down on that and just keep doing it. And then you can talk about the cleaning supplies, the lifestyle behind building the cleaning business, and then the BTS of it. Like, and then the educational side of all different products and like different like ways you could clean and etc. Like, those are 4 right there.
Yeah.
It all depends like what you're starting with. Just go start doing it, and then as you're doing it, you're gonna figure. Like I said, 100 videos, 75 videos, 75 to 100 videos you put out on YouTube. Then you'll have a good sense of what works, what doesn't work, what you should double down on. Like, who you should be making more content with, how you should be making more content, like what to optimize.
Again, funny you say that. Just I've been laughing so much because I could just relate to so much you say. Like, it really is just starting. That's really all it takes half the time. Because even before I started, even on my channel right now, I think the description. I know the description is podcast, vlogs, and BTS, and I have one vlog there, and I have no behind the scenes. But in my computer, I have a hard drive with a terabyte worth of videos of just behind the scenes that I have yet to.
I think that hurts us.
Yeah, I definitely do.
I think being so detail oriented really makes you procrastinate at times, and taking like from idea to action. You realize that the people that, at least for me, the people that have done very well as I've been around so many entrepreneurs now, the ones that really crush it are the ones that execute the fastest, that have the most iterations. Like, I could be doing every little detail right before I actually and procrastinate it, and like trying to get everything perfect while he's on his 4th iteration of what I'm currently procrastinating, taking action on. You know what I mean? And like, those are the people I've seen, like those the ones that from idea to execution have done better. So I really struggle with that. So like, that's something I've been really trying to work on a ton lately. Well, past 6 months.
I'm right there with you. I could definitely agree on that. Because just in you saying that, I think of like, he's already had 4 opportunities to learn, grow, and fail.
Yep.
And meanwhile, I'm still on my first chance. Like, should I even drop my video? Yep. Like, all the pressure's on me.
Realize what to do and not do.
Yeah.
And doing it.
Yeah.
There's a good video Chris Williamson put out. You should see it. It's like, it's do the thing. It's literally what it's called.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it. I've been watching more of his podcast recently, just because I think he's a really good speaker. And I actually stopped watching content in general. I haven't like watched any TV shows, movies, YouTube, or anything like that over the past year. And it wasn't until I started interviewing other people. Like, now I watch all of Julian's podcasts. I watch all of John Rondi's. Pretty much, if you've been on the show, I'm watching and supporting all your stuff.
Yeah.
But other than that, I try to not like consume any other content. I really just didn't have time. Now that I do have the time, I'm trying to just consume other content to learn, because I feel like I'm a psychopath. So when I consume content, now I'm looking at like, why are these logos this certain color? Like, what emotion is it invoking when I look at these colors? Like, why is he saying this? Why does this sound so good? So I try to not, because I won't really get to enjoy the content half the time. I'll just think about everything too much and see how it could help me on my businesses.
Yeah. Yeah, that's literally how I look at content all the time. Like, how am I going to cater? My whole feed is like, all the content I look at is I'm thinking about how I could turn that into a piece of content for one of my clients, how I could spin that for gambling golf, for MediaEngineering, for myself. Like, I'm always in that mind frame, everything I'm reading online and on social media.
Does it ever drive you nuts?
Yeah, all the time. I wouldn't say nuts, but it's like it makes it tough to enjoy things at times because you're always in that mindset of like, how could I spin this and make it for myself for like one of my clients, instead of actually, like I said before, I used to have trouble with like the active listening.
Yeah.
Same thing, like the comprehension of things and really like taking what's actually the value that they provided me and like soaking it in. Struggle at times because it does make me go nuts. I'm always thinking about how could I turn this and take what they're creating and spin it into our own.
I really like the headphones though, because it's actually the one time in my life where I feel like my thoughts aren't like a roller coaster, like 10 roller coasters intertwining pretty much.
Yeah, I've come to like it. We were talking about it before the podcast. I was like, hearing yourself talk, I've only done it like 3 times now. And I hated it at first.
Me too.
And now it's, I was going to have this thing off the volume, but I've slowly been turning it on as we've been going. And I like it. I actually don't mind it.
Yeah.
It feels like you're like more locked in.
Yeah, you just, like you said, locked in. It wasn't really till I went on to Julian's podcast, actually.
I had the headphones on?
Yeah, I had the headphones
Do all his
on.
guests wear the headphones?
No.
I noticed, yeah, okay.
Yes.
I was watching a recent one. They didn't have the headphones on.
Yeah, a ton of them actually decide not to because, like you said, a lot of people don't like to hear themselves, you know?
Yeah.
But for me, it's because, well, in the beginning, I was like, you could hear how far you are from the microphone. So you could hear, like, if I'm too low or too high, you know what I mean? So it's one way to monitor, but it's definitely just been like, I'm locked in. Like, I feel like it's just me and you, you know what I mean? Yep. I don't feel like all this other stuff going around the studio. You also have a sick
setup in here.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Yeah. There's a lot of distractions in here. If I feel like if I didn't have the headphones on, I'm just looking everywhere, thinking about 1,000 things. But this lets me lock in, hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you, how big of a role did it play for you to be around like so many entrepreneurs? Because you talked about it, like how, like what influences that play for you? Because for me right now, my biggest thing that I've been trying to emphasize in my life is building my network, because I felt that maybe the people I had around me weren't helping my personal growth. And it's not a jab towards them whatsoever. It's just like, maybe I want to surround myself by people interested in the same things, or maybe have the same habits, just because then I have somebody else to push me, and it's just not me by myself trying to push myself, you know?
Yeah. I think by being around so many entrepreneurs over the years, it shows you what's possible, how many different ways you could actually succeed in life. Like, you don't need necessarily a job. I think it's helped with taking risk for sure, like realizing but all the whole time I was learning. Like, I'm just learning from people who are all successful. Yeah. So it was a learning experience nonetheless, but you realize people aren't around that. So I was lucky in that sense. Like, I got to see how businesses were built, how these people operate, like what do their networks look like, having access to those networks, like what do their environments look like, how do they structure their days, who do they surround themselves with, like what do they do in their spare time, like it's so many little things, like how do they communicate with other people in their business, like building a culture, how are they as leaders, like learning all of those aspects was all an impact that like I was in rooms with people, most people aren't in their entire lives when I was like 24, 25. Wow. So you learn so much from it. I'm grateful for it. It's like a lot of little things that people will never realize or be a part of working as an employee for a company. But yeah, it's impacted tremendously. Like, you take all those learnings and try to implement them into your business and your life to get the results that they had. But it's trial and error.
That's amazing. I actually wanted to end it there. I just wanted to thank you for your time.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, sorry. I know it's like kind of at...
No, I love that, dude. It's all good.
Yeah, I didn't notice how long we were running. But I actually, you answered all my questions. I think I wanted to say, man, thank you. I say this to all my guests, and maybe I'm repeating myself again, but I'm genuinely thankful for your time. Like, it was amazing being able to hear your story and just kind of get inside of your life, because now you're at the point where you're building 2 amazing businesses, and then your experience in general is so cool to hear, especially for me, somebody who's just starting off in mine. It's it's cool. Like I said, just building my network and being able to hear your story.
Thanks, man.
I don't know. I never want to take it for granted. Things like this, like you said, these aren't opportunities anybody else in the world really gets to experience. So, I really value this time, and I really value the fact that you came out here and
Thanks,
like kind of gave me a chance, because I know just people over the internet, you didn't know what I had to offer. So I'm just thankful for it, brother.
No, thank you. I appreciate you having me here. I'm rooting for you, bro. Like I sense like the passion from you. Like you feel it. Like, and you look at this fucking room we're in. You went all in on this. Like you're in it. So like, just keep going, and I'll be rooting for you, bro. I appreciate you having me on.
Of course.
And thank Julian, actually. Julian, I immediately said, I was like, oh. It's like, I'm going on, I got asked to go on Stephen Ray, and he said your last name. How do you pronounce it again?
Reynoso.
Ray, yeah, he said that. And he's like, yeah, I was just on. He's like, do it, dude. And I was like, all right, I'm in. That sounds good. And I'm happy I did it, because this was actually an awesome conversation. So thank you, bro.
Of course. Anytime, brother. You're welcome back anytime.
I'll be renting this place.
Hell yeah.
For sure.
You let me know.
Bro, thanks, Steven.
Of course.